Welcome to Buff Zone. I'm Ryan Thorburn. This is Kyle Ringo. We work for the Boulder Daily Camera. And on today's episode, we're going to be talking a little Colorado football. Kyle, the Buffs just wrapped up spring football with their annual spring game on Saturday night. We have the long countdown until the season. August 7th will be the first practice. And just your general impression on how spring went. I know obviously we didn't get to watch all the practices, but we've interviewed a lot of guys and took in the spring game. Just your general thoughts.
My general thoughts are that spring kind of didn't go all that well for the Buffs because they lost their best player for the season to injury, and Paul Richardson. Anytime that happens, that kind of puts a damper on things. That's not to say that the team didn't get, something good out of the experience. I think anytime you're able to get some guys who haven't necessarily played that much on the field for 15 practices with their coaches, that's going to lead to some improvement and stuff. But I think you could tell just from the coaches' comments, every time we've talked to Coach Embry this spring, he's often alluded to the freshmen coming in and joining the program this summer and what a big deal that'll be and how much that'll help things. And so I think you can tell, based on those types of comments, that this program really is relying on those freshmen joining the program, and they're really waiting to see what they have once those guys get here. I don't think anybody really knows, including the coaches, what they have going into next season right now.
Yeah, I think the story of this camp is Paul Richardson. It was supposed to be the quarterback battle, which didn't get off the ground because of Nick Hirschman's injury. And then I think if you go through the roster and pick any player on the entire roster that you could not stand to lose going into this season, it would have been Paul Richardson. So that kind of tempers my expectations for this season. Football is a team game. One player usually doesn't make that big of a difference unless he's the quarterback. But after watching this team last year, I mean, Paul Richardson, when he was healthy, was an explosive, first team all Pac-12 caliber type of weapon. And to lose him on a team that just doesn't have any experience or weapons that are on campus yet, I think is devastating. And, I think that's the story of spring, unfortunately. Now the story of fall is going to be the freshmen coming in, how many will play, and obviously who wins that quarterback job. In your mind, who will be throwing to everybody except Paul Richardson next year?
Well, I'm not sure that we even know who all the candidates are at this point, so I don't know that I can tell you who I think it'll be. I obviously have reported a couple of times now that Jordan Webb, the former Kansas quarterback, is considering transferring to CU, and we'll probably know more about that next month in May once he graduates from Kansas. That'll free him up and allow him to make his decision and talk about it publicly and whatnot. And I think if you add a guy like Jordan Webb to this current group of quarterbacks, Jordan Webb has, close to 20 starts under his belt at the Big 12 conference level, and nobody on the current roster has really started a game except for Nick Hirschman, who, he played a little bit to start at Arizona State last year, and that's really the only starting experience that's on the roster. So if Jordan Webb is in the mix, then I think he has to be the favorite to earn the starting job. And beyond that, if he's not in the mix, then it's obviously between Connor Wood and Nick Hirschman if Nick is fully healthy. There's a lot of question marks going into August when it comes to who the quarterback will be.
I really thought it was going to be Connor Wood, and I still think he's the front runner. I think he has a head start that, he might be able to hold these guys off. But the fact that they're bringing in Webb and that Connor Wood just really didn't seize this opportunity when he had all the first-team reps, it's a little worrisome, I think. I think you'd feel better if a guy stepped up and ended this sooner rather than later, although I think regardless it was going to go into the fall. I'm interested in Shane Dillon now. I really am. Guys transfer for a reason a lot of times. Connor Wood obviously transferred here from Texas. Webb's, probably coming from Kansas, so there was an issue there. So I want to see a guy that Embry actually recruited that, is very talented, and I don't think he'll be redshirting, let's put it that way. I think he's going to be really fun to watch in this race as it develops. Let's end on this. It's mid-April. like I said, we have all summer to kill until the next practice, August 7th. The game, September 2nd, is a Sunday, so we have to wait even an extra day compared to a lot of college football teams. September 2nd, Colorado State, new coach, new quarterback there as well. What, if anything, are you expecting in this latest Rocky Mountain Showdown?
I'm expecting the stadium to be half empty again. I mean, just based on what these two teams have done recently and you know, the general lack of support that has kind of become the norm up there in Fort Collins and with that program. I mean, as far as what happens on the field, I really don't know what to expect next fall from either one of these programs. CSU has a new coach, and the Buffs are going to be so young. It'll be an interesting game just because you don't really have a good feel for either one of the teams going into it. But, you know, I'm pretty much of the opinion that in most years Colorado should beat Colorado State, and given the fact that there are new coaches up there and this is the second year of John Embry, I would be inclined at this point right now in April to go with the Buffs.
Yeah, I'm sensing a lot of great storylines with this game and some really bad football. I think if you took both these programs right now, and I think they're both going to get it turned around here in the next 2 or 3 years. You take both these programs right now, take the best, say, 40 players off each team. Maybe you've got a competitive team, but right now I think the cupboards are pretty bare. So the good news is the Buffs have all off-season to get bigger, stronger, faster, and they've got this recruiting class coming in. So, you know, we'll pick it up sometime this summer, but at least there's some hope and some interest, and looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. Look, maybe a bowl game.
Maybe not.
Yeah.